because he wants
cello
to...
lesson. Oh, yeah, right.
He wants to Lady Aurora.
Aurora. That's where you got your musical ability, from your father, who was Francesco Zappa. So okay, let's go back to finding out what happened. But yes, note, listeners, go to my website, find and hear the Zappa Ike Willis thing, or email me and ask me, and I'll send it to you, because it is a good interview. And me and Ike make these co-discoveries. He has a bunch of facts. I have other facts. Okay, so Americans, okay, so Frank is saying, Americans live in terror, Robot Frank, Americans live in terror of excellence and will do anything to avoid contact with it. Those who attempt excellence are murdered by prolonged exposure to video radiation. That's almost like if you're talented, you'll be made famous and then suffer the disservice of being famous. That's video radiation. The process has been remarkably effective so far. The committees who administer the program are now preparing to move forward with the final solution to mere competence. So Frank is seeing this as an attack on excellence. Mere competence is now a threat. Once the mere competent have been dispatched, the executive division will celebrate at a religious picnic with beige flags all over the place. The entire Bible will be recited aloud by people who cannot read. Everyone will have a real estate license. They will all be Republicans. So this is his explanation to Francesco that what is this? Okay, reward artistry with contempt and ignorance with outrageous praise. They live in terror of excellence, will do anything to avoid contact with it. And the process, they've kept this thing going for a long time, and the committees who administer the program are now preparing to move forward with the final solution to mere competence. So Frank is actually, Robot Frank thinks there's an actual conspiracy against him and his type, the excellent people. Because once the merely competent have been dispatched, the executive division will celebrate at a religious picnic with beige flags all over the place. The entire Bible will be recited aloud by people who cannot read. Everyone will have a real estate license. They will all be Republicans. Francesco yells, Madonna, give me a break. What the fuck is this potato guy talking about? Francesco can't take it. So Francesco can't take it. So Robot Frank says, the sick motherfucker we spoke of earlier is convinced that a genetic, so he's talking about Thingfish. The sick motherfucker we spoke of earlier is convinced that a genetic engineering firm seeking to increase the value of its stock, acting on instructions from an unnamed Christian organization, has undertaken the manufacture and dispersal of an incurable disease in order to punish, as part of a deranged religious doctrine, those members of society which the unnamed group finds distasteful. It is the video Christian extension of the old smallpox on the blanket technique, pioneered by the British when they gave it to the Indians. Francesco yells, Shep knew about this. He knew all along. Frank says, the British would have enjoyed delivering a few of those blankets to the Jews, but a postal strike precluded their shipment. Francesco then yells, only a Sicilian would write music about this. Porco Dio. Then so Francesco is outraged and confused. Thingfish is joined on stage by the other Mammy Nuns. That's Sister Anne D. Devine. There's a character named Andy Devine. So Sister Anne D. Devine. Sister Algonquin Jane Calhoun. Sister Potato Head Bobby Brown. Sister Jasmine Noxema Tapioca. And Sister Genghis Adonis Osmosis. They appear wearing giant potato head masks with human eyes set in randomly. The lower part of the mask is a custom-molded, flexible duck-bill prosthesis. Their hands are Jolson-style white glove monstrosities. The Mammy Nun costumes resemble the habits of some unknown order from the neck to the waist, with skirts patterned after the blue and white checkered napkin material favored by the lady on the Aunt Jemima pancake box. These are worn by very large, evil These are worn by very large, evil-looking male dancers. So they start singing, these mammy nuns. They go, we got talking shoes, we the mammy nuns. And it says, the talking shoes are designed to open in the front like a clam when the trigger located at the heel is depressed, revealing day-glow, painted mutant toenails. And they're singing, we is important news, we the mammy nuns. The ensemble of mammy nuns, it says, the ensemble lifts their skirts, revealing customized lawn jockeys with the outstretched lantern-bearing arm positioned between their legs. Instead of a lantern, the hand of each jockey clutches a showerhead plumbing fixture. On cue, what appears to be piss sprinkles onto Harry and Rhonda and other first-nighters. Dry ice concealed beneath the target area gives the illusion of steam. Frank is rolled to the side of the stage and is operating the pump which produces the fake piss. Francesco laughs and slaps his knee. The first-nighters panic and rush off, leaving Harry and Rhonda soaked and stunned. The ensemble of mammy nuns sings, we sure can dance and sing, we's a lot of fun. Thingfish, do you get... You see, wouldn't people say, what's the point, Frank, of bringing back these cliches? You know what I mean?
Yes.
By 1984, it's relatively integrated in a way. So why bring back this ugliness? And I'm sure he has a good reason. He's talking about the hidden ground of AIDS and iondom. Something like that. Thingfish. Did you get any on you down there? Ensemble, we's doing everything. We's a lot of fun. Thingfish, how'd you like to use my napkin? The ensemble says, we's doing the buck and wing. We's a lot of fun. We's off at the wall. Thingfish, pointing to his skirt. For those of you unfamiliar with the natkin, this be a natkin. Ensemble, on Broadway. Thingfish, on Broadway, it's a new day. Ensemble, it's a new day. Thingfish, that right, that's what I say. Ensemble, when we say. Thingfish, oh yeah, you both through with my napkin? Ensemble, we be the ones they be calling the mammy nuns. Thingfish, we ugly as sin. Ensemble, we be looking good with the napkin on. Thingfish, we got a nasty grin. Ensemble, we be looking good with the napkin on. Thingfish, pointing to Harry, we sure ain't ugly as him. The ensemble, we be looking good, Lord, 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 we be the mammy nuns. Then Thingfish says, step right up, folks, and meet the mammy nuns. You two ugly white folks have to excuse the sisters. It's what they put in the mashed potatoes that render them incontinent. Anyhow, over here, the scintillating Sister Algonquin Jane Calhoun and the delectable Sister Genghis Adonis Osmosis, along with Sister Potato Head Bobby Brown and the ever-popular Sister Ann D. Devine, and how's about a heartwarming welcome to Sister Jasmine Noxima of Tapioca and her unscrutable companion, Sister Abdullah X, and as your host, D. Thingfish. The ensemble, on Broadway, it's a new day. So it's a new day because Thingfish is on Broadway, right? They got rid of all those old Hollywood reruns. It's a new day when we say, we be... So here's Frank celebrating the impossible. What is that? Concentrated technological something? Wasn't that the impossible? What was that?
Concentrated technological ignorance.
Yeah, that's the impossible. All things are possible through that. So it's possible that Frank could get his play on Broadway. And he's saying that if he does, he revolutionizes Broadway. When we say, says the ensemble, and Thingfish, no, we did that. Okay, we've been looking good. On Broadway, it's a new day, says the ensemble. When we say, we be the ones they be calling the mammy nuns. Thingfish, we is dressed to kill. Ensemble, we be looking good. Thingfish, we gives you quite a thrill. Ensemble, we be dancing good. Humanini, himanini, ha. Humanini, humanimi, ha. With the dancing skill, with the knacking on, Lord. Now, the mammy nuns pose and flex. Thingfish, clutching Abdullah, assumes an Ed Sullivan pose. That's what Sue Bowen mentioned earlier. Spotlighted stage left. Frank rolls away from the piss pump over to Francesco. They watch silently. And Rhonda says in stage whisper, Harry, this is not Dreamgirls. Do you guys know what Dreamgirls is? Is that a famous Broadway thing about black music or something? Motown?
Yes, I think it's like Motown. I think it's like represents
about
the Supremes.
Yeah, right.
Diana Ross.
About the what?
Supremes.
Oh, yeah, about the problems. Yeah, about their fights among themselves. Well, wait a minute. Dream Girls is a Chinese girl group formed in 2011. Okay, well, this is 1984, so I'll have to put it up here. Just see what, I'm just trying to Google it here. See how we can do creative knowledge really fast?
Yes.
You know, I mean, we learn faster. I can look things up.
Yes.
If I actually go back and think of my resources in the 70s and 60s, like you would look things up, but it'd be a major effort. You have to go to the library or something. It was so slow. Okay, Dreamgirls is a Broadway musical with music by Henry Keeger and lyrics by Tom Ian, based upon the show business aspiration and successes of R&B acts such as the Supremes, the Shirelles, James Brown, Jackie Wilson, and others. The musical follows the story of a young female singing trio from Chicago, Illinois called the Dreams, who become music superstars. So it's about the Motown. So it's the black. So Harry says, this is not, Rhonda says, Harry, this is not Dreamgirls. Harry, they told me it had colored folk in it, Rhonda, and that's always a sure sign of good, solid musical entertainment. How was I supposed to know they'd be this ugly? Rhonda, they pissed on us, Harry. They fucking pissed on us. Look at my fox. Harry, I know. I know, dear, but they pissed on me, too. He did say they were incontinent. Rhonda, just smell this. I think we should get out of here before they do something else to us. Harry, leave now? At these ticket prices? Just hold your horses. It probably wasn't real piss, only theater piss. They probably have a formula, some special stuff. Comes right out of the fur with woolite. Or woolite. Rhonda, what's happened to Broadway, Harry? Used to be you could come to one of these things and the wind would be rushing down the plain, or a fairy on a string would go over the audience. But now, Harry, I ask you, is this entertainment? So here's Frank talking about himself being on Broadway and being the audience being pissed off at him. Harry, you're absolutely correct, dear. So far, we haven't seen a single good-looking pair of legs, a single sequin-encrusted whatchamacallit, no firm, rounded breasts. This show is a disaster, Rhonda, a complete and utter disaster. Thingfish. Say there. Hey, that's right. Hey, you two ugly white folks, over here. As you know, the presence of... They're calling the blacks ugly. It's like Civil War. The blacks are calling the white guys ugly. As you know, the presence of carboniferous, hardcore unemployables has generally, in the historical past, guaranteed an evening of uplift and frolic and cavortment. It'd be a shame for you all to miss out on this here one. Got some nice chairs for you right over here. Harry and Rhonda rise, cross the Thingfish, and sit in the chairs he offers. They are immediately chained to them by the mammies. They capture the white people. So you got a civil war going on here, guys. Harry, beg your pardon, what's going on here? Rhonda, oh, they're touching me, Harry. Harry, do something. They're putting chains on me. Oh, what'll I do? I'll be stuck to the chair. I'll miss intermission. Harry says, they're only theater chains, Rhonda, just some form of... Rhonda says, these are real goddamn chains, Harry, and they're not going to come off with woolite. Harry, I don't mind the way they feel. They don't bother me, honey. Relax. Go with the flow. Rhonda, Harry, you are an overeducated shithead. Thingfish comes in. Look here, folks. This is only for your own protection. Once we get rolling here, things be happen all over the place that could prove dangerous to persons not previously acquainted with the San Quentin mashed potatoes. Rhonda, I want the wind to come rushing down the plain. I want fairies on a string over the audience. I want real Broadway entertainment. Feathers, spotlights, guilt, hours upon hours of guilt. About my mother, about my father. Rhonda, about brave women suffering at the hands of infantile, insensitive, dominating men. And what do I get? A potato-headed jigaboo with Catholic clothes on. Incomprehensible duck lips. Weak bladders draining through abnormally large organs. Jesus, Harry, what the fuck is going on here? Harry, simmer down. If you'll just roll with the punches and don't rock the boat, I'm sure we'll have a lovely evening at the theater. Thingfish, that's right. We got fairies on a string for your ass just... Excuse me, my throat got dry. We got fairies on a string for your ass just a little later. Meanwhile, I believe you all require some updatement on the Colonia situation. Sister Abdullah, express yourself. The ensemble goes, Galut Colonia, Galut, 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 says Thingfish. The killer Colonia. Ensemble, Galut Colonia, and blah, 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 Colonia, the killer Colonia. Thingfish, well, the government did find out rights away. What's this? Well, the government didn't find out rights away about, they didn't find out about the Colonia, or the mashed potatoes. Ensemble, the Mammy Nuns, that's right, the Mammy Nuns, Thingfish. Well, they's too damn excited about the sissies they was knocking off and working up an uncreatable variety of theoretical scenarios to incredible becomes uncreatable variety of theoretical scenarios to explain away how come the fagnets all be croaking at the same time in November. Thingfish, the month of November. I remember Zappa used to go on, Johnny Carson talk shows and say it was manufactured by the government. He would go that far. Manufactured by somebody, I think you might say the government, because it doesn't. You can't have something disappear out of nowhere in 1 month. He probably said November, and kill all these people, 700 people, and it just not explained how it happened so quickly. So he was puzzled by the story of how it began. So he's talking about that here. He says, the month of November, reeking of tainted colonium, they booked in the heavy pseudo-religionist talent to pronunciate the doctrine of biblical retribution. Ensemble, moving the project forward. Thingfish, figuring that to be a show-fi explanation suitable for domestical. Ensemble, assuagement. Talking about the cover story. Are you still there? I heard a click.
Yes.
Yes.
I was thinking how, for example, when they catch the terrorist in Paris, they show the whole thing live, and the criminalistic investigation was shown on TV live, and this is like the new cheapness of is no different from that horrible show Zappa is presenting. Is all this collateral damage of your entertainment. You're going to get pissed off, and they're going to put some crazy thing in your smashed potatoes. and you are consuming this entertainment happily. You don't see how cheap all these effects in all the movies, in all these media really are. It's all illusion, and we are going into this new type of entertainment of the reality show, the reality news, entertaining people, showing how somebody is killed and blown up live.
Now, when did they capture the terrorists? Did something happen recently, or you mean on the same day the bombing happened?
I think
don't
it
know
was like the next day. I haven't seen the thing, but...
Oh, you mean when they caught the girl and blew her up? She got blown up.
Yes, and they were describing, yes, there are pieces of blood and organs everywhere.
That's right, legs all over the street.
And they got into the apartment, and the press was there broadcasting as the people from the police are doing the investigation. They're showing you this type of new entertainment. Oh, look, here's one dead terrorist and the other is blown up and this and that.
Right.
It's just like he's presenting that with the mommy nuns pissing on you.
Right.
And that's
abuse
entertainment.
Value. Yeah. So, I'm not going to read the whole thing. Let's see. I think it's pretty amazing that they get protected, and that's the Ionic scenario.
Yeah.
All this crap's going to happen. How far do I go to this? There's a lot of stuff. Goes into the prints. Well, maybe I could read this part. It says, the scene changes to evil Prince Shemp's dungeon. It's now calling the evil prince Prince Shemp. Dungeon Laboratory has traditional decor featuring as a centerpiece a large aquarium tank housing a preposterous artificial pig made out of soft red vinyl, illuminated in the tank by 4 infrared lamps like the ones they use to keep the French fries warm at Burger King. The pig opens at the top like a grotesque handbag. Inside are hidden yards and yards of fake entrails made from cotton tubing, stuffed with kapok, tied off in segments to make it look lumpy, and dyed in various colors. Dangerous-looking hoses, tubes, and air-conditioning ductwork run from an oversized IV bottle labeled Galoot Colonia into the pig in the tank. Nearby is an American flag and a photo blow-up of Ronald Reagan with a cowboy hat. So Thingfish says, now, this nasty sucker, he's talking about the evil Prince Shemp, this nasty sucker is the responsible party is the responsible party for the enwiffment of the origamo potion. Through the magic of stagecraft, we be able to see him at work. He now be preparing some ugly shit to make your life even more miserable than it already are, since this batch be resigned to render him immortal. We does not know if it going to work yet, but we can always hope for the best. Flies, now he quotes the famous Zappa mid-70s song, The Torture Never Stops. It's sort of describing the evil prince's torture, which, was being sung 10 years before the play. Flies all green and buzzing, in his dungeon of despair, prisoners grumble and piss they clothes and scratch they matted hair. A tiny light from a window hole 100 yards away is all they ever gets to know about the regular life in the day. And it stinks so bad, the stone's been choking and weeping greenish drops. There's your fucking RNA drops. In the room where the giant boa puffer woke him, and the torture never stopped. The torture never stopped. Go on, Abdullah, play that little guitar one more. What? What's the funny part right there?
Yeah, the torture never stops. And it's like the vortex is even worse than what McLuhan was presenting, or Adorno, right. Or LaRouche. It's not only the low culture. It's the
Zappa's showing it more.
And the viruses.
Zappa's updating.
It's even worse than you thought. They putting some substance in your smashed potatoes.
Yep.
And,
go on, Abdullah.
Yes,
play that little guitar. Yes, go ahead.
You're being. You think you're being entertained, but it's actually a type of torture, of video radiation.
Yeah. And McLuhan wrote that. In Take Today, in 72, he talked about torture as entertainment. He laid that out. Entertainment was torture. He talked about the working guys. They had injuries on the job, but the executives, they had the pain of software design respondibleness. So there was a software pain and torture for the management, and a hardware pain for the workers. So Flies, okay. Abdullah, play that little guitar one more again. Then Thingfish says, "Uh-oh, I smells trouble. He be messing with pig meat here. Motherfucker be rejecting some colonia directly into the duodenum of the unsuspecting victim. Now we're going to see if he's immune to it by eating the dab himself." So he's talking about the prince. He be messing with the pig meat, and he's injecting something into an unsuspecting victim. He's going to see if he's immune to it by eating the dab himself. I think he's saying that the prince ate something. Flies all green and buzzing in his dungeon of despair, an evil prince eats a steaming pig in a chamber right near there. He eat the snouts and the trotters foist, the loins and the groins it soon dispersed. His carving style it well rehoist. He stand and shout, all men be coist, all men be coist. And disagree, well no one durst. He be best, of course, of all the voice. Some wrong being done, he done it foist. and he stinks so bad his bones been choking and weeping greenish drops. And in the vat of Colonia, where the disease be burling up, burling meaning boiling, and boiling up. Doors open all over the dungeon, and Broadway zombies emerge. There's a Peter Pan zombie, a Hello Dolly zombie, an Oklahoma zombie, and an Annie zombie with her zombie dog. These are large puppets operated by dancers in black. The evil prince performs an assortment of disgusting experiments on them with medieval tongs and tweezers. And Thingfish speaks, "Whoa, do yourself a favor and don't use it. Ooh, look at these ugly suckers. Boy, when white folks come back from being dead, they sure get scary looking." So the zombie, Peter Pan, Hello Dolly, Annie, Oklahoma are all very ugly, uglier than Thingfish. Boy, when white folks come back from being dead, they sure get scary looking. But don't take their appearance too seriously, people, because they say this is the sort of folks that belongs on Broadway. So the Broadway zombies collect around the evil prince, who suddenly suspects the presence of an intruder. After taking a large bite from an onion, he sings some stupid song. I'm not going to go through all the lyrics. The Broadway zombies respond by slightly reenacting the greatest moments from their famous shows. And Rhonda freaks out. The evil prince reaches into the bowels of the ravaged experimental pig and gorges himself on the raw entrails, tossing scraps to the Broadway zombies. Francesco has made the acquaintance of the Hello Dolly zombie puppet, taken it aside and is trying to fuck it. So Francesco's trying to fuck the Hello Dolly zombie. Frank has rolled away unnoticed. Then Rhonda and Harry yell and scream for a while at each other, and Thingfish is sort of trying to offer advice. Sister Andy Devine and Sister Genghis Adonis Osmosis clamp electrodes on Harry and Rhonda. The other sisters re-enter with a pair of stuffed dummies used to illustrate the song text in a bizarre sort of a Bunraku first aid demonstration. Francesco is finished with his zombie and watches the action from the sidelines. So a lot of singing, and they hand dummy number 1 to Francesco, who studies his workmanship, and introduce dummy number 2 to Harry and Rhonda. Their torture chairs on a rolling platform are wheeled to center stage. The action takes place all around them. So it's about this black guy who tries to be a white man. He becomes an executive, and what's this? Yeah, do you know what you are? That what I asked you. You are what you is what you am, and that the truth. The cow don't make ham, I mean that now. You ain't what you're not even hardly. So see what you got, and you got a lot of looking to do, Junior. You are what you is, that entirely too correct. So Zappa's making fun of black people who try to do well in the white world and kind of lose their whatever they're supposed to have, their root culture. Like the black guy learns to play golf. So they hand dummy number 1 to Francesco, who studies his workmanship. I guess we did that. Introduce dummy 2 to Harry and Rhonda. Their torture chairs on a rolling platform are wheeled to center stage. The action takes place all around them. Here's what the song is. A foolish young man of the Negro persuasion devoted his life to become a Caucasian. He stopped eating pork. He stopped eating greens. He traded his dashiki for some Jordache jeans. He learned to play golf, and he got a good score. He got a good score. Now he says to himself, I ain't no nignant. I ain't no nignant. That's spelled N-I-G-N-I-N-T, nignant. I ain't no nignant. And Samba goes, no more, hey, hey, hey. Thingfish goes, 1 Adam 12, see the nignant with the knife. Proceed with caution. Knife baby open. Harry runs away. Who is who? I don't know. I just don't know. Why is this? That's a funny pronunciation if I've ever heard one. If you don't like words, you get that word. What you has got, the word is not. Appropriate. Drop it in the dirt, drop it. I can smell it now. Someone else here to come. I told you he was coming. Oh, it's just on ongoing lyrics, which are songs on Zappa's albums. Ensemble goes, you are what you is. And then Sister Algonquin goes, I'm the kind of guy. Ensemble, you is what you am. Sister Algonquin, that ought to be driving. A cow don't make hand. A 450, I should be driving a 450 SLC. So he's going to become a truck driver. All right. Then they go down to the Mud Club. Harry and Rhonda are released from their chairs. Apparently, a thrilling transformation has taken place. They leap up energetically and begin to dance, a horrible combination of twisting and frugging. Francesco scratches his head. As the lyrics indicate, the scene changes to the interior of a tragically dated new wave nightclub, complete with abstract denizens performing the actions described below. So there's some scenes of the Mud Club, and then Quentin Robert de Namelin shows up. So even the Dutch of York, Lady Aurora, the Dutch Midgets, and the Sicilian Elephant Man re-enter and join the dancing in the Mud Club. Thingfish says, from when they come downtown from the ruins of Studio 54 to twist and frug in an arrogant gesture to the best of what the 20th century have to offer, including a generous supply of ignorant McNugget. Quentin Robert de Namelin is down there right now with a whole face full of ignorant McNugget, looking for a virgin with nice breath. Maybe it's you. And they go on singing, celebrating the club. And they're working the wall, and they're working the pipe. And in the last line, the assembly says, in serious pain. That's chapter 10. Chapter 9. Now we go to chapter 10. Through the magic of stagecraft, the nightclub panels turn and shift, changing the scene to the interior of the Quentin Robert de Namelin Video Chapel of Economic Worship. The new wave denizens shed bits of costumery and wigs, becoming dazed, worshipful video Christians. The Duke of York removes his sport frock, turns his wig round, and becomes Quentin Robert de Namelin. Lady Aurora undoes her Velcro fasteners and stands revealed as Opal, Quentin's video-religious, phone call-answering, whimpering weasel of a wife. Thingfish says, welcome to the Quentin Robert de Namelin Video Chapel of Economic Worship. And then they sing the Zappa song. Some take the Bible for what it's worth when it says that the meek shall inherit the earth. Well, I heard that some sheik has bought New Jersey last week, and you suckers ain't getting doodly. Is all the mammies really wrong if we's wandering around with the knacking on, big old lips like a duck while we singing this song? Evil prince people, he can't do nothing. You say your life's a bum deal and you up against a wall. Well, peoples, you ain't even got no kind of deal at all. It goes on and on and on with Zappa cynicism, and then we get to a scene. The scene changes to a pair of adjoining rooms at the Aladdin Hotel in Las Vegas. The video Christian audience exits. In one room, Quentin Robert de Namelin strips to his boxer shorts and fondles a rubber love doll dressed as a waitress. In the adjoining room, Opal drinks from a bottle of Jack Daniels while preparing to administer an enema to a freshly captured bellboy, already mounted in a torture rack with his pants down. Thingfish says, that's right, folks. We're talking to hypocritical Jesus jerking of paradise they call Las Vegas, Nevada. Quentin done booked in for some clandestine recreation with a semi-deflatable woman of easy virtue, since that devotes the onlyest kind of bitch to be able to tolerate the motherfucker's hairspray. Being just like most of the other nasty cocksuckers in the video religion industry, Quentin know a good thing when he see one, and this ugly rubber waitress looked to him like a dream come true, especially since his TV wife Opal, be in the next room drinking Jack Daniels and putting the hurts on some ignorant bellboy. Eventually, when all the pluking and thrashing be done with, the bellboy, who turned out to be an illegitimate son of the video preacher, going to take a job at a gas station in New Jersey. So the bellboy is the son of Quentin. And the blow-up dolly going to come to life and fall in love with the junior wimp who's getting ready to appear over in the corner there. Yeah, we mentioned that, someone the other day, that the rubber doll becomes a person. Harry, as a boy, appears at the left and walks to center stage in a lovely spotlight, while Quentin and Opal continue their business. So then Thingfish, let's meet the little sucker now while he's still young. Harry is a boy. Because for all y'all knows it, he be reaching adulthood and marry some bitch named Rhonda. And by that time, he going to become what they call an overeducated shithead. Then Francesco and the adult Harry and Rhonda watch this, totally baffled. So Harry and Rhonda are watching Thingfish grow Rhonda. They're watching themselves being grown, right? Did you get that? Rhonda says, Harry, is that you as a boy? Rhonda says, Harry, is that you as a boy? Harry says, why? It must be. He's so charming and sweet and likable. Thingfish, Harry's a boy. Come over here and say a few words to the nice peoples. Harry's a boy. Hi, folks. Nice to be here. Thingfish, I'm sure there'd be lots of folks like to know what your plans are, how you intend to go about this incredibly serious business of growing up in America. Harry's a boy, says, well, I plan on making a few mistakes, having my heart broken and so forth, using all kinds of drugs and turning gay as soon as possible in order to accelerate my rise to the top of the heap. Thingfish says, tremendous, Harry's a boy, simply tremendous. You practice up for it with anybody in particular now? Harry's a boy. I can't afford to study with anyone yet, since the bulk of my allowance goes for glue and Grateful Dead tickets. But soon I hope to be on my knees in a real homo bathhouse. Maybe when my folks go on vacation. Thingfish, ain't you the clever one? Tell us, Harry's a boy, how'd you recite? No. Tell us, Harry's a boy, how'd you recite or decide upon this here lifestyle being the one for you? Harry's a boy. It was pretty simple, really. I lost all desire for intercourse with females when they started carrying those briefcases and wearing suits and ties. Rhonda goes, what? Harry's a boy, says, let's face it, that would be like fucking a slightly more voluptuous version of somebody's father. I'm far too sensitive for such a traumatic experience. Thingfish says, you means the women's liberation movement done created the uncontrollable urgement to play dingle, dingle, dangle with the personal equipment of your own gender? Harry is a boy. To a degree, I mean, look, I'm not stupid. I know it's all a thoroughly workable government-sponsored program to control the population explosion, and just like every other American, I'm too concerned with my own personal health and well-being to think of devoting any of my precious time to something as boring as reproduction. Rhonda, Harry, I used to think you were merely an overeducated shithead, but now that I finally have proof, it's going to give me great pleasure to refer to you as an overeducated cocksucker. Harry, well, to be honest with you, dearest, I sort of gulp. Rhonda, where's the fairies on a string, Harry? Huh? Riddle me this. Thingfish says, easy there, white folks. I told you I'll be getting you fairies after a while. And you know that sort of thing take a little time to wake up to in your Broadway stitch situation. Mammy step forward and hep the little cocksucker out. The mammies, ineptly disguised as the village people, mount a flying harness on Harry as a boy. As he's hoisted aloft, they sing, he's so gay, he's so gay, he's very, very gay, and he likes to be that way with his keys on the right. He's into rubber every night. He's so gay, he's almost everyone today. Brown Moses, bearing a disturbance resemblance to the picture on the front of the Uncle Ben's rice box, enters and watches from the side, ad-libbing a commentary to the mammy's lyrics while Harry's a boy whizzes over his head. Now, I just want to go check something. Uncle Ben's rice box. Is there such a thing? I guess if there's Aunt Jemima.
Yes.
It must be Uncle Ben. So,
yes,
the lyrics are he's so gay. Right. Okay. He's so gay becomes he's so okay. He's okay. He's okay. He's got a role he wants to play. He's okay. He's just a cowboy for a day. Of course, his evening's not complete without some meat in his feet. Let's skate away down Santa Monica today. Maybe he wants a little spanking. Maybe he'll eat a little chain. Maybe his lover should be thanking him for the way he makes it sprinkle into drops of golden rain. He's so gay. He's so gay. He rules the city in a way, you could say. It's sort of different today. All the taffeta and chintz and every leather boy's a prince. Hey, hey, hey. Please don't look the other way. You could be just like him tomorrow. Maybe you'll get a chance to borrow his bouquet. And maybe later we'll all be gay. Do you really want to hurt me? You know that George song? George. You remember that George guy? Anyways, As Quentin's rubber waitress, okay, so as Quentin is lowered to the stage and disconnected from the harness, Quentin's rubber waitress enters, apparently smitten by Harry as a boy. While the mammies remove their disguises, she approaches, attempting to charm him with her ever-open mouth and neat plastic hair. English says, that quite a massive improvement, darling. Just a few moments ago, you was well on your way to being severely ugly. Now, through the magic of stagecraft, the blobulence of your blobulence done reciprocated to a respectable reclusium. Yeah, science. She attempts to caress Harry as a boy. Thingfish to Harry and Rhonda. If you all don't mind me saying so, I believe it's about time for your pathetical miniaturized replicas to fall in love. After all, this little sucker already been full of glue, homosexual extrusiums, and army food. Nothing left for him to do except get catched by this little stinker over here. Remember, we's on Broadway. Motherfucker be buying them tickets once a little.
Hello?
Hello?
What happened? What happened? Bob!
Must have got cut off.
Thanks, Bob!
It might take him a while because he was reading.
Yes, it's quite funny, I think.
Yes, it is.
All these characters, the robots, the monsters, the mutants.
Yeah, Frank was quite busy doing this. I mean, just think he was doing music and this at the same time, so he was really filled with a lot of energy to do his music and then outline this book with all these different characters and the dialogue between the characters. It's amazing.
Yes, I think he worked non-stop all the time. He was doing something, remixing or vomiting something new.
That's right.
Yay!
I think I got knocked off.
Yeah,
what was the last bit you heard? What was
somebody got him tickets.
Yes.
Right. Let me.
And then you.
Tickets? Did you say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
Remember, this is Broadway and something like it.
Oh yeah. So. The rubber girl. You remember that deblobulence of the blobulence done reciprocated to respectable reclusium, right? You heard that part.
Yes.
And then Thingfish says to Harry and Rhonda, if you all don't mind me saying so, I believe it's about time for your pathetical miniaturized replicas to fall in love. After all, this little sucker already been full of glue, homosexual extrusiums, and army food. Nothing left for him to do except get catched by this little stinker over here. Remember, we's on Broadway. Motherfucker be buying them tickets once a little heart, a little soul, and some titty too, if they can get it. So let's get you all in position here and get this silly business over with. Y'all's taking too goddamn long to grow up in America. Harry is a boy. I suppose you're right, Mr. Thingfish, but you have to admit, this is a rather awkward situation. Harry, that's right. Stagecraft is one thing. This is not Harry's a boy. This is older Harry. That's right. Stagecraft is one thing, but this is ridiculous. Where did that stimulating little replica come from anyway? Rhonda says, that's a good question, Harry. Don't let him wiggle out of it. Hound him mercifully until you receive a suitable answer. Mercilessly. She's got mercifully. Contradiction. Full and then less. Harry, now, just hold yourself in abeyance, Rhonda. I'll handle this. Look here. Mr. Potato Head, what's the meaning of all this? Do you realize what you're asking my replica to do? Do you expect him to literally fall in love in front of all these people with that artificial rondo over there? So Frank's writing the plot, and he doesn't know what to write next. He's saying, just hold yourself in abeyance there. Look here, Mr. Potato Head, what's the meaning of all this? Do you realize what you're asking my replica to do? Do you expect...
I was thinking, I remember my mother was in shock that this, I think it was Rock Hudson.
When he
was the name
gay,
of that actor.
Yeah.
That he was gay, and I think he died of AIDS or something like that, and my mom was completely shocked because that was like the hunk. But
of her life.
Frank is showing that these ideal Hollywood couples are actually like that. The actors are gay and the women are just like plastic sex dolls. And this is what we should aspire to be.
You know, when we were with Frank in 1988, and we'd done the 3.5-hour interview, and then we did the 3.5-hour unrecorded thing, at one point Frank, he just went over to the water cooler and was getting a drink, and he had this sort of very private, disgusted look, and he says, you know, I know all these people. He shakes his head. Like, I don't know what we were talking about, people in Hollywood or something, but he says, I know all these people. And he shakes his head like he was just totally disgusted with the world he had to live in there in L.A. You know what I mean? I always remember that. He didn't say anything. He just shook his head like, man, it's fucked. You know, these people, you remind me of that. They're all plastic dolls and gay boys pretending they're heteros.
The public just sees the kingfish, but he's like a mutant fish or a very sick character.
Just a minute. I'm going to have something to chew here for a second. You can carry on. Take over my talking responsibilities, Bert. You talk, Bert. Move your mouth.
Like I was telling Roxanne, I'm amazed at how the depth of the characters of, just think Frank we know as a musician, but if you look at this play, the depth and the humor outline his characters. He was a very busy man, very busy.
Yes, he was always, like remember, the robot says that the Frank that Francesco wants to meet is not going to meet. He says he doesn't socialize with anybody. Just stays in his laboratory. Just keeps working.
Yes. And you can see this in the outline of this play. I mean, he just really, the depth, the humor, and he's all alone trying to prove a point about how the black people were exploited by this newfound fame of wanting to become famous.
Right.
So it's a...
Yes, and we all see the illusion as the American dream, which is it's only an illusion and very cheap. It's only cheap effects. And
but see, that's
why
1984. This is the Reagan era. The final, Frank writes about in his book, the effort to be the perfect America in the 80s. It all falls apart in the end of the 90s with Clinton and the Lewinsky scandal, and then, muckraking TMZ journalism takes over. It started with OJ in 95. And then there were no secrets, and then everybody was announcing they were gay and lesbian and a racist or whatever targeted group they were looking for. They'd gladly announce their idiocy, and then they get attention that way. They get gigs, like Anna Nicole Smith or any other whack job that was running around. They totally flipped by the Bush era, by 2005. Nobody's hiding anything back, and they're actually trying to look as crazy as possible, right? You get what I'm saying there?
Yes.
Zappa's criticizing the last effort to make America look normal. in the Reagan era. Reagan retrieved small-town values, and nobody's living like that way, actually, and Frank is showing that, but they're all pretending there's still a white, hetero world going on.
Well, he's showing how sick the environment really is, the characters, all monsters, zombies, robots.
Right. But they're trying to keep a front up. There's no front being kept up now. Where's the front? Who's what? Well, there's not even nobody's paying attention. They're too busy creating their own scene. There's no centralized TV body icon that people are trying to match up with. That's Donald Trump. Just comes out and starts just yelling and screaming, and he becomes the most popular guy.
And that's the situation where we are sinking in the vortex, and Ian has to show up to be the barrel and take us out.
Yeah, that's how bad it was. Frank is showing how bad it was, how far along we'd gone, so that in the end, heaven would cancel itself. You realize how serious the situation is at fucking heaven? Heaven dropped out. Heaven gave up the ghost and is trying to hang around here at Dobbstown. That's pretty fucking bad. I mean, we can't even get anybody to even understand the idea of what happened.
Yes, it's like the true story is like we fell, really. Now we're trying to say that. Can you believe my story? Well, shaky.
Another thing is, Ian showed up in 2009. By 2014, he's given up. And you've noticed what Ian's been saying the last couple of years. We told you how to do it. We gave you the chip body. You didn't do fuck all. You didn't take over. So we're going to have to take over, and we don't give a fuck about you anymore. You're over. Get happier. Get out. I mean, that's Ian ran the revolution for a few years and then gave up. Have you heard that part of Ian? Have you noticed that?
Yes.
Yes. First he was talking to everybody, but then he said, okay, there's only 1% people listening.
Yeah, it was like I was
only
naive.
A few made it to the
chip of
license.
Yeah, so we grabbed the barrel and we survived. But most people jumped on the masthead and went down with the ship. But it's like Ian was naive. He came in all happy and blissed out, being the environment of the Gulf, and ran a revolution for 6 months. Kept it going for another few months, then realized none of the humans got it, and Ian wasn't that great of a communicator, and it didn't work, and so he says, fuck it, we'll take over. Take a few with us.
Yeah.
I think he was saying that on Rewrite last week.
Yeah.
What?
They said they don't care. They said they don't care.
They said that last week on Rewrite, didn't they?
Yes, they don't care. If you get it.
And that was the last Rewrite. That was number 41.
Yes.
That was November 23rd. That was right before Ian stopped. So Ian did come back. Why did Ian come back? Well, maybe because I did the Herculean 6-day sleepless marathon. One person. It's like, doesn't God say, if I find one honest person, Sodom and Gomorrah, I'll save the damn city? Well, one guy showed up and did the 6 days of impossible, whatever I did, and I said, all right, you got one human being that's really cool, I'll come back. So Ian stayed on for almost 2 more years, and then, well, we don't know, we can't say that's what's happening right now, but it looks like some kind of break has been taken, because it's been almost 2 months now. Anyways, I made the effort. I got him back. I inspired the guff, but then I failed, I guess. Or you guys failed to get the message. I don't know. ions started communicating with silent frequencies.
Yes. So, what do we do now, Captain?
Wait it out. Don't worry. Everybody be back. Let me just see what it says here. How are they? Oh, yeah, Boy George. People are answering some of our questions. Bobby Brown goes down. You are what you is. Leon says, ha, 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 it's so hard to find the real Zappa. Jim Bob says, could it be said that Frank's entire collection of songs, his body work, comes out of one huge libretto? Yes, you could say that. Robert says, life is a similar story of James Dean photographer between L.A. and New York. Don't know what that means. And then Jim Bob says, James Dean died inside of a Spider Porsche 550. Inside of a Spider Porsche 550. Why does Robert say life is a similar story of James Dean, photographer between L.A. and New York? Was he a photographer? Anyways, what do we do here? We must plow on forward. Still got another 40 pages. How can I get through this without taking too long?
Well, it's fun. I'm enjoying everything. It's really fun.
Yeah, okay, so we're at, basically, Harry and Rhonda keep fighting, and they want to get back to the evil prince and see what the fuck we're going to do about him, says Thingfish. Yeah, basically all start fucking each other. All of them. Yeah, Sister Abdullah wants to fuck somebody. Harry, as a boy, minces his way toward artificial Rhonda. The mammies laugh up their sleeves. Francesco reads the April 84 issue of Hustler. The April 84 issue of Hustler, I have that, has a whole layout of Thingfish. Has a lot of stage pictures, the sets are in the April 84 issue of Hustler. And that's right before we go on CKLN. We go on CKLN at the end of August, early September 84. So now I get to the final. A lot of fucking. Everybody's fucking each other, flirting, teasing. So then we come to the last chapter, and it says, we hear a slow dirge over which the mammies chant a twisted variation of the syllables being sung by a computer-generated voice. We hear a slow dirge over which the mammies chant a twisted variation of the syllables being sung by a computer-generated voice. We are once again in the yard in front of Francesca's New Jersey bungalow. The manger is still occupied by the ugly little baby. We now recognize that it has artificial Rhonda's face. The baby has artificial Rhonda's face in Robert de Nameland's enormous white video religious pompadour. Standing attentively on either side, in the Duke of York and Lady Aurora's original positions, we see Harry as a boy and the artificial Rhonda, wearing low-budget Christmas pageant Holy Land robes. Francesco watches them through red plastic binoculars from the bungalow window. The computer-generated speech program is the voice of the ugly little infant known as the crabgrass baby. He starts quoting stuff from Lumpy Gravy. So Crabgrass Baby says, stroke me, Pompadour, 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 stroke me, Pompadour, father. Stroke it nicely while I tell you about the problems I'm having with my car and my girlfriend. Ooh, the white man's burden. He and her girlfriend used to go out and booze it up and tear up the upholstery, rip the seats completely out, and so I got a 56 Olds. This is actual lines from Lumpy Gravy, 1967. About the time I got it running decently, she got in and wrecked the trans, tore it completely up. So I had to get another Oldsmobile. Either that or go to Tijuana or go down to Brown Moses way down in Egypt land. It's so hard on a child when his car is fucked up. Buy me a Volvo, father. And then Harry is talking, isn't this terrific, artificial Rhonda? Thingfish says Harry's a boy who's got a problem.